Ruben Amorim, Manchester United, joke club. Honestly, you could write a television series on just how bad they are week in, week out in the Premier League. I've actually run out of things to nearly say, I thought, about Ruben Amorim, about Manchester United, about the formation. I think so many content creators have. And yet yesterday's performance was arguably as bad as it's been all season, if you're honest. That system doesn't work, does it? For Brentford, a really good result at home. They are a completely different team at the G-Tech to what you see on the road. And for Brentford fans, they have a new hero. THIAGO bags himself a brace. Bryan Mbeumo returns, was largely ineffective for Manchester United yesterday. Ironic cheers from the Bees fans. Amorim spent more time looking at his shoelaces than he did actually watching football, and once again can't seem to watch penalties. Bruno Fernandes missing his second of the season as well in the Premier League. The only bright note I think you can take from the game, and we're going to break it all down over the next 10 minutes or so, is the fact that for the first 6 minutes, I thought Manchester United were really good in terms of knocking it about, using the likes of Sesko, Cunha and Bruno. And also Sesko got himself on the score sheet. You know, talks of 007 ringing around and stuff like that. It's important for him that he gets himself on the score sheet, and he did open his account for Manchester United. But it finished Brentford 3, Man United 1. Guys, do me a huge favour. If you haven't done so already, please can you drop a like onto this video. Make sure you're subscribing to the Footy Social Club and get your thoughts into the comments on Brentford 3, Manchester United 1. United fans, have you now had enough? Have you wanted to give Amorim more time, but now don't see a way forward under the Portuguese manager? Or do you believe you've got to stick with him and there's no one better out there? Would love to know your thoughts, so get them down in the comments. If there's any Bees fans watching this, do you think you'll stay up under Keith Andrews this year? Home form for me seems to be so important. I don't see you picking up too much on the road. And if you can maintain the fact you've beaten Aston Villa at home, you've drawn with Chelsea and now beaten Manchester United, then surely if you can maintain that, then you'll at least survive in the Premier League this year in what is a huge transition following a summer of losing some really big name players. But I was impressed with Brentford at home yesterday. 10 shots on goal, 8 on target. United had 14 shots, only 6 on target. But you can see that Keith Andrews has been involved with Brentford now for a while. You can understand the patterns of play. It is different to Thomas Frank. It's a little bit more open. It's a little bit less pragmatic. It's a little bit more attacking, definitely from a counter-attacking style. But it works. It really does work at home. And Brentford, the G-Tech, was rocking yesterday. You know, a big club, Manchester United are a huge football club, regardless of the position they find themselves in. And look, another 3 points. Another 3 points gone for United. And I was watching a couple of things during the week. I always think when a club's in some sort of, you know, travesty, it's interesting to see the reaction when they do win a game. And obviously they beat Chelsea last weekend 2-1. And United fans and content creators with opinions, we're all entitled to opinions, saying, you know, think United can go on and beat Brentford. I think we can start to build off this. This is a starting point in our season. And to be honest, my opinion of that is anything but. You know, Chelsea were reduced to 10 men. They lost their goalkeeper after 5 minutes. Maresca made 2 of the strangest decisions to take off Neto and Esteval as part of the change from losing Sanchez. And after 20 minutes, Chelsea lost Cole Palmer, who they are, you know, heavily reliant on. I don't think you can take anything from the Chelsea game last week other than the fact you picked up 3 points at home. You know, and for that few days, Ruben Amorim feels that he's justified in playing a 3-4-2-1 formation. You know, I think he needs to go and have a coffee with Oliver Glasner and really learn how to play that formation. Look how well Crystal Palace use it. They beat Liverpool at the weekend, a team unbeaten in the Premier League. So, yeah, Manchester United fans, would you take Oliver Glasner at your club? I tend to feel Glasner could be the man to not turn it around, but certainly begin the rebuild at the club. The question may be whether the players can actually place the system, and do they maybe need more of a different style of manager who prefers maybe a 4-2-3-1. That is a conversation for another day. But I felt for the first 5 or 6 minutes, United started quite confidently. Maybe that comes off the back of winning against Chelsea 2-1 last weekend. They knocked it around, and there was some bright bits that I think deserve taking, talking about. The fact that, Benjamin Sesko likes the ball over the top, or into space. And United tried to do that in the first 5 or 6 minutes. I thought there's some nice link-up play, some nice movement in midfield between Fernandes and Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko. I thought United looked good. But it's at the back that there's the huge issues. De Ligt, what has happened to De Ligt? Honestly, the Ajax De Ligt is nowhere to be seen. Rubbish at Juventus, moved on to Bayern. Rubbish at Bayern, moved on to United. Hasn't worked for him. He's not quick enough. Positionally, awful. And the Dutch can play 3 at the back as well. They can play 3 at the back. He understands that formation. But he was poor again yesterday. Harry Maguire, who I think is probably Manchester United's best defender, in all honesty, caught for pace, against Igor THIAGO. Luke Shaw, don't think he's a centre-half. Why he plays when you've got Lenny Yoro, I am unsure with that one. Again, that sits with the manager. A manager who is so rigid. I'm not surprised that he plays Luke Shaw. Not surprised. He's got Aiden Heaven on the bench as well. Brought them in from Arsenal. Man United rate him very highly. Why not play him? When your team's so bad defensively, why not play the youngsters? The fans get on board. These players get experience. United are losing games anyway. They've lost 3 of the first 6 Premier League games this year. Why not play some of the younger players? Get them the experience. Because there's a lot of Manchester United players that do not deserve to wear that shirt. Anyway, the opening goal, and what an opening goal from Igor THIAGO. Brentford have a new hero. Ball over the top from Henderson. THIAGO runs onto it and smashes it with his left foot into the top corner past Bayendia, who, other than being at fault for the 3rd goal, I actually thought had a fairly good game for Manchester United yesterday. I am questioning why United went and got Seny Lamens if they're not going to install him as the number 1. A player that has a very good, scorecard, report card, whatever you want to call it, from the Belgian league. And sure, that's not the Premier League, but Bayendia hasn't exactly torn up trees for Manchester United. Sure, he's seen off the competition in Andre Onana, who's gone off to Trabzonspor. But that's not really hard to do because Onana shoots himself in the foot game in, game out. So, I don't really understand why United went and got Seny Lamens the way they did, only for him to sit on the bench at Manchester United. I said, especially when it's been as bad as it has. So Brentford take the lead on 8 minutes, and the G-Tech is rocking, and United begin to rock. And that opening 6 or 7 minutes where they were knocking it about, all of a sudden the errors start to come in. All of a sudden, the heads drop. United become disjointed. And this is the point where you're looking for your manager. This is the point where you are looking for guidance from your manager, who is sitting on the touchline, sitting on the manager's on the bench, looking down at his shoelaces, playing with his little tactics board. He's like a fan too nervous to watch the game. And is he just feeling the pressure? Is he just feeling the pressure? It's hard to know with Ruben Amorim. The team he went with yesterday, Bayendia, De Ligt, Maguire and Shaw, Diego Dallo, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes and Dorgo. Dallo and Dorgo, for me, are just not good enough in this system for Manchester United. Mbeumo, Cunha and Sesko. Surely it looks better with Fernandes in the 10, Mbeumo on the right, Cunha on the left, Sesko in the middle. Surely that looks better. Get rid of De Ligt, play Maguire, leave Shaw at left back, Dorgo if you really wish, Shaw at left back, put Dalot at right back, that starts to look far better. And I ain't even a manager, and I can tell you it looks better. For Brentford, Kelleher, Coyote, Collins, Vanderberg, Hickey, Henderson and Yarmouk, Utara, Damsgaard, Sade, who ran his legs off yesterday, and the star man, Igor THIAGO. And on 20 minutes, Sade down the left, who gave United, who gave De Ligt troubles all game, gets in down the left-hand side, squares the ball across the box. Bayindir can't hold it, pushes it into the path of THIAGO, who cannot miss from 5 yards out. And on 20 minutes at 2-0, I'm thinking this could be 4 or 5 for Brentford. United's heads had gone. They really had. They were... I don't even know what to describe Manchester United anymore. You know, I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, you know, where Man United competed with Arsenal, then Chelsea. You know, they are heavyweights. They've won the Champions League. This is a far cry from this Manchester United. This is a Manchester United side that honestly could get relegated. It really could get relegated. It's that bad. West Ham sacked Potter on Saturday. I expect Nuno to turn them around. If Manchester United continue to back Ruben Amorim, and that's surely going to run out, then he's going to take United down. That's the only way it goes. United did get themselves back into the game. Benjamin Sesko, as I mentioned, got his first Premier League goal for Manchester United. Scrappy as well. Kelleher at fault in the Brentford goal, failing to deal with a cross, falls to the feet of Sesko. He smashes it in with his left foot. And at that point there, maybe United are going to rally. But in all honesty, it gets to half time. Second half comes. There's no great reaction, you know, until ball into the box. I think it's from Dalot. And Mbeumo is brought down by Collins, who I don't understand why he wasn't sent off. He denied a goal-scoring opportunity, but he wasn't sent off. VAR looks at the incident, and Mbeumo's brought down. You're wondering whether Mbeumo's going to take the penalty, but no, it's left to the captain, who once again misses in West London. He missed earlier in the season against Fulham. Blame the referee for that one, and he can only blame himself. There was a long wait for the penalty to be taken, but Kelleher, who was at fault for the goal, redeems himself, saves Bruno Fernandes' penalty, and the game is wrapped up from Jensen in the 90th minute. You know, on the counter, United at 6s and 7s, as Mbeumo playing as a centre half. They go past him, and Jensen smashes the ball past Bayindir in the goal. This is the one time in the game that I felt Bayindir may have done better. But overall, it don't matter. We can talk about the substitutions. Mainu came on, Xerxes, Yoro, Mount. None of them had an impact. Why? Because none of them understand what they want from Ruben Amorim. Oh, sorry, what Ruben Amorim wants from them. They don't understand it. They don't suit the style. And whatever he is doing in training, remember, this is a Manchester United team that don't have games during the week. This is a Manchester United team that have no excuses. Under Amorim in the Premier League, 33 games, 9 wins, 7 draws and 17 defeats. 17 defeats in 33 games for Manchester United in the Premier League. A win ratio of 27% and a goal difference of -14. That's not Manchester United. Points, 34. Just over a point a game. Answer me this in the comments. Do you sack Amorim now, and who do you get? You are still a big club, Manchester United. But now you need to be brave and act like it. Yes, you've got rid of Ten Hag. You've had so many managers, but it needs a complete clear out. And it needs a new identity, because if not, it continues to falter week in, week out. Well done to Brentford. Fantastic result. 3-1 against United. Solid from them at the G-Tech. Guys, do me a huge favour. Drop a like on this video, please, if you haven't done so already. Help the Footy Social Club grow by continuing to support us by subscribing today as well. Plenty of football content, not just Manchester United Premier League content week in, week out, and get your thoughts in the comments. Brentford fans, Manchester United fans, football fans in general. I know there are a lot of football fans who want to see United keep Amorim. Why? Because they enjoy seeing United losing. I'll see you on the next one.